You are listening to The Mismatch, presented by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook has made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your bet slip. Then sit back, relax, and track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel app today to make every moment more. The Ringer is committed to responsible gambling. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. You must be 21 and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Welcome to The Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
We're getting a Game 7 in a series that we thought we'd get a Game 7 from.
Oh, is that what you want to do?
That's where I'm starting.
Is that how you want to start the
That's
show?
where I'm starting. That's where I'm starting.
Oh, I mean, I could go back in my text with you before this game started, or no. You, that level of confidence. When did your level of confidence in the Oklahoma City Fetuses start to wane?
Well, it was when Strother hit those threes. I always felt like they had a chance. When Strother hit those threes, I was like, okay. I didn't know we had the Cornette game last night. I didn't know we're gonna have the Strother game tonight.
Well, it does speak to how much everybody is dependent on the non-stars in these games. And to wit, the last game, that game was decided in many ways by the Lou Dort 3 consecutive threes that he made, right?
Yeah.
That game was going one way, and Lou Dort knocked down those 3 threes. And in that same kind of way, you know, these teams, especially when you get deeper and deeper into the series, they're going to be able to guide the shots to the guys they want to guide the shots to. And the Lou Dorts or the Julian Strothers or the Luke Cornettes, or somebody's got to come out of nowhere. Somebody's got to make an impact on these games. And there's no doubt Strother was the one tonight, because that was out of nowhere. Like, I would love to have seen what his over-unders before this game was.
In minutes or points, because he didn't see the floor for a bunch of the series, but I thought he played great. And one thing I loved about it is once he hit the first one and the second one, and Billis did a good job of speaking about it, it seemed like every time he touched the ball, he felt like he was Anthony Edwards. He was like, it was now that I have the ball, I'm just going to Legler. Sorry. I got them confused.
They all run.
But it felt like every time he touched the ball, he was like, I'm going to score. This is my ball. This is my time. This is my moment. This is my game. I'm Julian Strother, and now you're all going to say my name. Good for him. Great game for him.
All joking aside, this is exactly what we needed to take place, which is getting us a Game 7. This series has been absolutely incredible. Outside of the one game, game two.
Yeah, game 2 was game 4 was also one of the worst games I've ever seen.
It was a bad basketball game aesthetically, but at least it was dramatic. You did have that Nuggets team go up in the fourth quarter again, and that Thunder team be mega impressive and be able to getting a win on the road, because that was their season on the line. They're not beating Jokic 3 straight times. So that was their season on the line in that game 4, and they were able to come through in a big way. Again, got down in game 5 and was able to come back in that one. This one, it felt like, look, let's get this out of the way. The officiating in this game was horrible.
It's just gross.
Horrible. Like, they are the only thing that almost maimed this game.
It wasn't so bad in the second half. The second quarter in particular was just like, what are we doing, guys? It felt like Adam Silver needed to call a timeout and bring the referees over and be like, not about you guys, not about you.
Well, and I'm sure Oklahoma City fans are pressed about you look at the end, it's 32 to 16. I mean, they doubled them up in free throws tonight. Now, obviously, part of that is there's a 3-point there is a big difference in the 3-point numbers. The Nuggets only shot 32 threes tonight, which is like
the smart
anemically low for today's NBA. Meanwhile, you saw on the other side, the Thunder shot it 41 times. Now, the Thunder, look, when they've got 9 more attempts and you made more, that obviously is a big win for you. But the Nuggets were pressing the goal in a much different way than the Thunder were. And so you can write that off. But, I mean, you've got the presumptive MVP of the league with 4 fouls in the first half of the game. I mean, there was just so much. It felt like they're calling everything, and then the teams started playing like they were calling everything. And it just killed the flow of the game for a good portion of it.
I didn't enjoy the first half, like as a watching experience. I did not enjoy that. And I thought that SGA's 4th foul was like very Karl-Anthony Towns-ish. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. It was just like, if you know you have 3 and your coach allows you to play with 3 because you're the MVP, you have to appropriately respect that decision and not behave in that way. I just thought that was a really, really dumb foul that changed the game.
And one thing that I will say on the Nuggets' behalf of the way they are able to pull this off tonight is one of the major numbers is going to be how much are they turning the ball over and how much are the Thunder scoring off that. As we have talked about, those numbers are extreme for Oklahoma City. Almost 20% of their points come off of turnovers. And so tonight, that number was kept decently low. It was like 20, I think it was 14, I think was their turnover total for the game. But the points off turnovers were equal. That's not a win for Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City lives off turning you over, scoring off those. And there were a lot of possessions tonight where I felt like they turned them over and either smoked one at the rim or missed a dunk or whatever. They weren't converting on the turnovers that they were forcing.
I felt like the Oklahoma City transition offense left a lot wanting. I felt like there was a lot of opportunity for them to get back in the game or take a bigger lead in the game or do something that just didn't work out once they got the ball. And then speaking about the turnovers, towards the end, they're up by like 14.
Oh, they're playing with their food.
What are they doing?
What are they doing?
What are you doing? Like, how are you going to allow them to get poke the ball away and get a run out on 2 straight possessions with 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter with a huge lead? It was insane.
Well, and then, of course, on the one, Aaron Gordon starts grabbing his hamstring. I'm like, no way.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
No way. No way did you just fumble this ball away and hurt your hamstring.
Kicking the ball with Caruso on his back like a turtle trying to like throw an outlet pass to a streaker.
And then, hey, all that, it's an absolute mess. It feels like they're playing prevent offense, running out the clock. And who comes to save the day?
Who else?
Push it up to the number. Of
Who
course,
else?
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Westbrook was awful tonight. Like they got the win. And I'm sure he got a couple highlight plays, putbacks or whatever, but like he was so bad. He was so bad.
Well, and the crazy thing is, it's so hard when so there was that really great stretch when he was in the game in the 3rd quarter, part of the Strother, run too. And that's because, you know what I noticed at that time? Adelman did okay, I want Westbrook's energy. I want this defense, but I don't want him getting the ball kicked out to him. He's the dunker spot. So you just saw him, and you saw him constantly, like anytime they missed. He will fight down there. But you can't have him in Gordon because now Gordon's not in that dunker spot. So he just didn't have Gordon in the game. He sat Gordon, and that's like almost that's where he can be most effective. You get the defense, you get the energy, you get the rebounding, you get the help on the putbacks, maybe a run out, whatever. But it's too hard when him and Gordon are both in the game. It's like, I need you in the dunker spot, right? Because Gordon is literally the best dunker spot player in the world.
And they'll leave Westbrook if he's out in the perimeter. They'll just leave him. And
they will also leave him in the dunker spot and live with the result of some of those layups were smoked.
I thought that Christian Brown had a great game. I thought he played really well. I thought and he missed his first three, and you were kind of thinking like, I don't know, but he played really well. The one assist from Jokic to Brown was I've watched the replay 3 times. I don't know how Jokic saw him.
Amazing.
Because usually with a no-look pass, you kind of spot the player and then you look away. I never saw Jokic spot him. It was like an out of timeout or something. It was like set up. It was one of the best passes I've seen this postseason. That was an amazing pass from Jokic.
And I'm glad you brought up Christian Brown, because both Brown, Strawther, like, these are guys that, like, okay, now in a game 7, not and it can be different guys every time, but the others have to step up. Your stars have to carry the load, the big load, and get the most attention. And then they are going to create the looks and the opportunities for you. And you've got to be able to convert on those. And you see tonight, Jokic has his 29, 14, and 8. Ho-hum. Right?
That's what we expect.
Literally.
Honestly, he had 29, 14, 8. And I was like, could have been more aggressive.
99.9% of the league's best game ever. And we're like,
I honestly thought he could have been more aggressive.
All right.
Thought it was a little passive.
Probably needed to shoot more. But Jamal Murray, who scary hours at the beginning of the show when they are the sideline reporter comes on and talks about how Jamal Murray didn't even go through his warm-up, and Jamal Murray thought, he was just going to sleep it off last night, but then woke up and felt super ill. But then the Denver doctors got to him, and they've been hitting him with IVs and all. And I'm like, what in the world? What is going on? What is going on? And then he came out like a house of fire. He's great in the first half, kind of calmed down. And then in winning time in that fourth quarter, boy, did he get hyped up. I mean, that was just, I don't know what kind of illness he's dealing with. It's obviously not as bad as Porzingis is.
Somebody like get Porzingis whatever he got.
Right. They can't get him some IVs.
How come when I get sick, they're like, take some Tylenol or some Robitussin. But when Jamal Murray gets sick, it's IVs and antibacterials, and he's got all this this alien level GNC stuff. What does he got?
What they're doing for guys that are ill and guys that have ankle injuries are truly modern marvels. Now, the reason I bring up Murray is because though he was ill at the beginning of the game, like, bro, he delivered. This is exactly what you need your second banana to do. And at the beginning, of this, we ended up having so many games that were going on, and we weren't ever able to do the proper segment that we would have if we would have had more time before the play-in and the playoffs. There was already too many games going on. But we had discussed at one point about ranking the Robins, or the Robin ranking, right?
Yes.
So the same way Jimmy Butler talked about, hey, he's our Batman, I'm our Robin. And we said at that time, I said, look, man, Jimmy Butler's pretty high up in those Robin rankings. Like if your second best player has carried teams to an NBA Finals, that's pretty damn good. We are going to get to the greatest Robin of all so far in these playoffs, Julius Randle. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Jamal Murray showed up tonight. It's exactly what you have to have happen. And on the other side, it is a huge moment on Sunday for Jalen Williams, because it is it time yet? These last 3 games, Jalen Williams is 2 for 13, 5 for 14, and tonight 3 for 16. You add that up, Jacoby, and that is 8 for 43. 8 for 43.
That'll get you like 21%, right? I'm doing the math on the top of my head.
In the last 3 games.
And he looked like he lost his confidence tonight. He looked like he absolutely lost his confidence. And you would think after burying that 3, after the swing in the last game, you would build on that momentum. That was probably the biggest shot of his life. You know what I mean? That was a huge shot to win the game.
Yep.
And you would think that after that shot, you would have a little bit more confidence, maybe get out of your funk. But he is in the funk, man. He is in it.
Look, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gives you the 32, which, again, you're going to need somebody to carry the load, and he delivers. He gets you 32. Chet Holmgren comes along with 19. And
he missed some big threes, though. He missed some big open threes in the fourth quarter.
He did, but it seems like the other guys that have been most dependable have been Caruso and Kason Wallace, on both ends of the floor. Those guys as a tandem have just been menacing defensively. And then, look, this is the Lou Dort giveth and Lou Dort taketh away.
Oh,
right?
he tooketh. He tooketh and he was shooketh.
But here, they have to have a different – in a Game 7 coming up on Sunday, this cannot be the Jalen Williams they get. You're just not going to get out of the woods. And look, you got to grow up really, really fast. Everybody, rolls their eyes when I talk about the scars or whatever. Jalen Williams is an infinitely better player than how he is performing. But he's going through this on this level where he's getting this attention. I always talk about the whiteboard. They know where Jalen Williams wants to get his shots. They know what Jalen Williams wants to do. They know when Jalen Williams is most effective. And so they know that they need to make sure that life is hell for Jalen Williams. We're going to make life hell. We're going to try to make life hell for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But you could tell SGA has been in these moments a lot. He's got it figured out. And we're going to try to make life hell for this guy because this guy's the Robin. This guy's the Robin, and we will live with the results. If Alex Caruso is going to make every shot, if Lou Dort's going to make every shot, if whoever you want to name is going to make the shots, so what? But what we're not going to do is have this guy go along for the ride with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he has been struggle bussing for 3 straight games, and tonight was just 3 for 16 is crazy.
Well, I started looking at his game and being like, if he's open for 3, I'm not concerned. If he's driving to the basket, I'm not concerned. If he's pulling up from mid-range, I'm not concerned. And I'm not concerned if he's playmaking for other people because he doesn't really do that either. I started looking at him tonight being like, well, what are you good at?
And that's a function of the way he is being defended and him going through this for the first time.
It's Game 6 for a reason.
They've
seen you play your game 5 games in a row. They've seen all the tape. They know what you want to do. They know where you want to go, and they're ready for it. And you need to have a counter.
And that's what figuring it out is. And that's why when I've talked about teams being young, he is going to become a great Robin. But for right now, he's not ready to be the second best player on a great team. Now, they might be able to fill in the blanks with the others, right? You get the Kason Wallace step up, the Lou Dorts, the Carusos, the whatever, and maybe he totally delivers in a Game 7. But for 3 straight games, this has been pretty rough from the field. And they really are going to need him to be a different player certainly a radically different player than he was this evening.
I thought Chet played well. I thought it was a good Chet game. As someone who paid very close attention to Isaiah Hartenstein's production last year in the playoffs, I feel like they're just not using him enough.
There's a limitation with him. I do think he is a better passer. He is a better passer than he is.
When they go to the zone, get him at the nail, and he'll just operate as the hub of the wheel.
I agree.
And they're playing zone every so often.
A lot.
And I really feel like Hartenstein is the antidote to that zone. And not even as a shooter, he's got this lefty floater thing. That's fine. I mean, he was 4 for 4 tonight from the field, so it's hard to be critical of him. But it's more critical of Daigneault in the system that they're not using him to emphasize his strengths in the way that I want them to.
Well, and that zone gives them the opportunity to really be able to guide SGA or make it harder on him where they can collapse on it to make him get rid of the ball, because you've seen in the moments when they do start to man up, I mean, it's food.
Oh, yeah.
He sees I mean, he sees that green light as soon as and again, you can't set up the zone unless you're coming off dead ball or a make.
Mm-hmm.
And so you saw when they got that, like I think they built the lead up to like 12 at one
In
point.
the first half,
In the first half. A lot of that was we're getting the stops, and now we're not letting you set up in your funky zone, or because they'll even change that zone too. And you can see SGA at the top, and there's two guys looking right at him. And then there's a third guy that's standing basically right underneath the free throw line. And it's like, where are you going? Where are you going? You could do a 2 dribble pull up if you want, but I mean, we're going to contest that. Or you want to try to get in here? Like, we're making you get rid of this ball.
And they've got principles in the zone. If Lou Dort is on your side, don't close out.
That's right.
If Cruz is on your side, don't close out. If Isaiah Joe is on your side, close out. They've got the principles down, and the shots didn't go in for the guys they filtered the ball to. And it's very reductive to say, and I said it on Bill's pod yesterday, a lot of the playoffs is determining who you want to filter the shots to and can they make those shots. And tonight, the Thunder could not. And that involved a lot of Lou Dort, and it involved Caruso. And I was pretty surprised when it involved Chet.
Yeah.
Who I thought played well, but he was 2 for 7 from 3.
Right.
And some of those threes, all those threes were open. He's not taking pull-up, crossover between the legs, pull-up threes.
And you know what? They may drop when it comes to – I'm very fascinated to see how 7 plays out, because 7s can usually be gutter wars. We saw them perform – we just saw the Nuggets perform at a ridiculous level in their first round series against the Clippers in a game 7.
In 7. Yeah.
A run out. You know what I mean? And so we have seen them already in these playoffs against a very good team. That Clippers team was very good. And they performed at a super high level, but circumstances are much different. This is a team that won 68 games or whatever they did this year, and they're playing at home. But if this does turn into your typical all-out war game 7, how do those guys react to that? Or are the Thunder able to do the role players feel good
role
at
players
home?
Feel good at home. Those door shots.
And the crowd will be amazing. Crowd will be amazing in Oklahoma City for a game 7. I mean, they will have that on their side. They will have all the adrenaline in the world, and maybe they can just crank that defense up a notch to where it's just turnover, run out, turnover. You know what I mean? Like, that's the dream scenario.
They get into that press defense in the last 3 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, like, why don't you guys do this in the first half? Like, why is it now? Why does it take you to be down 12 with 3 minutes left and you start poking the ball away and getting layups? Like, that is what they do. That's the currency they trade in. And I feel like in game 7, they need to do that. They need to press more. And I also felt the officiating had something to do with it too. They were just calling everything in that second quarter. It was annoying. Everything.
All right, well, it's all going to come down to Sunday. You know,
I got the Thunder.
And I've got the Nuggets. So this will be for the right to play against Julius Randle's Minnesota Timberwolves.
I mean, I said into this very microphone 4 weeks ago that Julius Randle will disappoint you in the playoffs.
Okay.
I could not have been more wrong.
Okay. All right. Hold on. You're right. I mean, up to this point, obviously, you could not have been more wrong. I'm going to tell you, I'm not so sure that you should back down yet. No, hold on. Let me get all the effusive praise out of the way. Okay. Julius Randle's been unreal. 20 plus in 8 of the last 10.
Getting assists, dude. I think his entire Knick career, he had like 2 assists.
No,
included the regular season.
Hey, he is leading them in assist rate.
It's nuts.
He's leading them, okay? The last 4 players to average 20 points, over 5 rebounds, over 5 assists on 50% in the postseason, minimum 10 games. So the last 4 guys to do this are Jokic, Giannis, LeBron, and Julius Randle.
You can never underestimate the power of being in a contract year. No. Never underestimate the power of being in a contract year.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. And I always liken situations to ones that I have been through before. I always say there's nothing new under the sun. Years ago, I covered an NBA basketball team that set NBA history by going 0-12 in the playoffs. They made the playoffs 3 consecutive years, and they went 0-12 in those years. Okay, in those
Congratulations.
The best player on that team was Pau Gasol, who was woefully miscast as a number 1. And then that number 1 went and became a number 2 in Los Angeles, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And his number is in the rafters in Los Angeles. And I can't help, there's some of these times where this happens. And we know there is an alpha dog. There is one of these transcendent players in Minnesota. And now it's time where Julius Randle is not having to be the guy. He's not the guy I have to count on every single night. He's not the guy that the other team is saying, stop him, we'll deal with the rest of them, right? Yeah. He's now in the perfect situation for him. And he's also had many years. And I think, like, when you look back, the farther you can move, sometimes guys just need to move down that whiteboard. When I talk about the whiteboard, right? Sometimes guys just need to move down it. I don't need the defense deciding they're going to shut me down and make my life hell, right? And so Kobe Bryant got all of the attention, and now Pau Gasol is just killing. I'm watching it from afar being like, oh my. And then people are like, yeah, well, why couldn't he do this in Memphis? It's like, bro, you're not the guy. But, man, you could be the other guy, and that's what I kind of feel like when I'm watching Julius Randle. Now, we said everything we could possibly say great about Julius Randle. The reason I'm telling you, you might want to, again, they made it to the West Final, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But is there an element of, bro, they just played against the Lakers, who have nothing to stop anybody inside, and then they just played against the Warriors, who, interestingly enough, have nothing to deal with you inside. And they're
He's scoring on Draymond Green.
I understand.
He's making it to Draymond Green's chest, who is a DPOY finalist most years.
We do understand, though, the level of competition is going to go up a massive amount coming up. Whoever they draw, whoever wins Sunday, they're either playing against Denver or Oklahoma City.
Okay, but counterpoint again. If they play Denver, what do you, Michael Porter Jr. is going to cover him?
Aaron Gordon.
I don't think Aaron Gordon can cover him the way he's playing right now.
Give me a break. Aaron Gordon guards Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on possessions, for goodness sake. Aaron Gordon.
On possessions.
Come on.
I don't know, man.
Okay, fine.
There's nothing about what I've seen from Julius Randle in these playoffs that makes me feel like it's going to slow down. Nothing.
I agree. Look, I was trying to give you an out.
I don't need an out.
I was trying to give you an out. I'm trying to give you the, hey, man, you might get to the next round and he gets a 3 for 15 and you could celebrate. See, I told your ass and he would like you.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
You're not going to do it?
When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Unlike you, I don't make excuses when I'm wrong. I'm wrong. He's 13 for 18 from the field.
I'm with it.
13 for 18. He missed 5 shots of 18, dude. And he's making plays for other people.
Remember I'm saying this. Remember I'm telling you that, hey, you had your opportunity because
who covers him in the Thunder? Who does he match up with on the Thunder, right? Because you got stupid Gobert and
Chet.
Yeah, I don't think he can score on Chet.
I mean, I'm look, just let it. They're playing the Nuggets anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
Probably going to play the Thunder.
Look, when we talk about the second bananas or the Robins, as it were. So the second banana in Oklahoma City has been downright rotten, but the one in Minnesota.
Can't even use that for banana bread. Oh, that banana's gross.
The Minnesota one has been in Skechers, by the way. And I would argue that if you, in your men's league, show up and you're guarding a guy in Skechers, you immediately
Leave him
do
alone.
not respect him.
Leave him alone.
You don't respect him. Do
Leave him
you
alone.
think that they have treated Julius Randle like he's wearing Skechers is my question.
Apparently. One of my kids wanted Skechers, and I almost hit them. I've never hit my kids once. They asked for Skechers one day, and I was just like, "What are you? No way! You can't wear Skechers."
No. I will
I
tell you
not
something.
Buy you Skechers.
Oh, you have no idea how many pairs I have seen. So here's what I'll tell you. With the kids, this is who wears Skechers. Young people,
old people,
and old people, right? My mom has an unlimited
they have to,
amount of Skechers.
When they came out with the step-in ones, like, you don't even have to bend over and tie your shoes. I was like, well,
here's what I'm going to tell you, though.
I was like, tell me more.
There is, I am constantly, with the way my life is, so I'm constantly around youth. I feel like I do get a good grasp of life because I am around young and I am also around old. I'm around my parents. I mean, I have to go fix my dad's Bluetooth mouse twice a week. Okay. so I'm around them all the time. And one thing I will say is that a kid, it does sometimes make me get real perspective because I'm one that likes shoes and clothes and whatever else. And I sit there and I'm around the kids and then I'm around my parents and I'm like, these kids don't care. They don't care. They like it because it's comfortable. And my mom, she doesn't care what you think about her. She likes it because they're
she's not trying to stunt on people at the bingo hall.
There's somewhere in this 50-year, 60-year gap where we lose sight of that. We don't care when we're young and we don't care when we're old. And it all gets screwed up in the middle where we care what people think about us. You know? And maybe Julius Randle just hit that way earlier is what I'm trying to say. He's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm wearing these. I know they're giving me money, but still, not only am I going to rock these, I'm going to be the best player on a team in the Western Conference Finals.
He is.
He's been the best player.
Dude, he was so good in that game. I think you do make a good point. Like, the Warriors don't have a defender for him outside of Draymond. And he's fearless when Draymond is guarding him. And I've seen him during his Knicks tenure. One of the things I was so appreciative about him is he hit tough shots. He took bad shots, but he hit them at a high clip. And he's not even doing that anymore. And he's doing weird stuff like that reverse layup that he had. It was just weird. Like, where did that come from?
Yep.
Where did that come from?
Athletic, man. Must be the
Wolves.
Skechers. It must be the Skechers. So anyways, look, they were mega impressive. Who knows where the Warriors go from here? It's sad because that is one that we will look back on and it will be remembered as the series that Curry got hurt. Right? Because I mean, I think they were up 30-20 and he grabs his leg. And it's like,
they won that game. They won that game. But one thing I'll remember from this series is after the game, Jimmy Butler, they got a win. They're up. They're high-fiving. They're hugging. Jimmy Butler in post-game, immediately after the game, said, it's so hard to play without Steph Curry. And once he said that, and I was like, oof, this series is over.
Yeah.
FanDuel is letting you get in on the NBA playoff action right from the first tip because right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just use your token on a 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. So listen, we've got a big game right down the street from me here at Madison Square Garden, Game 6. Feels like a must-win game for the Knicks. It is a must-win game for the Celtics. And here's what I am seeing, and here's what I will be betting on FanDuel. A bounce-back game from Mikal Bridges. A bounce-back game from OG. And a Knicks victory. And I'm going to parlay all that together. And guess what? If I lose, no problem. Because it's a no-sweat same-game parlay weekend on FanDuel. And I love betting on FanDuel because they have their great promotions every day. They have a safe and secure app and instant payments when you win. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just visit FanDuel.com/mismatch and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Remember, you must be 21 and over and present in select states or 18 and over and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires within 7 days after receipt. Max refund is $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
And look, congrats to the Wolves. I mean, that's 2 consecutive years that they are going to be in the Western Conference Finals. And I can't remember what the Finch quote was, but it was something like, are you a team that belongs in the are you a team that just happened to make the Western Conference Finals, or are you a Western Conference Finals team, right? Like, so This is the year we've got to prove that wasn't like we showed up last year for the Western Conference Finals, and then they got made work of by Dallas.
Well, this is a perfect transition to the Pacers.
Right.
Another team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Same
no
thing.
one respected that, including myself. Right. No one respected their run to the Eastern Conference Finals, including myself. But now you look at it, you're like, we've been in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row.
What can you say now?
Are you ready? Are you ready to take us seriously? Because I'm ready to take them very seriously as a potential opponent.
Well, and they have a very interesting one, and it's a little like Oklahoma City in the sense that Oklahoma City's second banana is not clearly defined in terms of who's stepping up to be able to get them where they're going.
It's supposed to be J-Dub. It's not
supposed
Chet.
to be.
It's supposed to be J-Dub. That's who it is.
And in Indiana, you have these, it's almost like they have, it's this triumvirate of guys at the top of their scoring, which is like Siakam and Halliburton, and then Miles Turner's kind of right behind them at like 16.5 points. But then they just have Nembhard does this and Nesmith does this, and they, they just have so many. They don't have necessarily like a second guy that has to deliver. I suppose you would just say Halliburton and Siakam, but it's just not top heavy like some of these are, right? We know when we go to a game 7, Jokic and Murray got to be good. And Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams have got to be good. And Towns and Brunson have to be good. And Randle and Edwards have to be good. The Pacers, it's almost like, golly, they don't really have like they can't have bad Halliburton or Siakam games, and it's not like they're not top heavy like the rest. They are they're a much different breed than the rest of the teams, I think.
They feel more like a system offense than a player-based offense. Like the Knicks are very much like Brunson's going to have the ball and he's going to operate.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen every single possession. And Halliburton is certainly the conductor of the orchestra.
Of course.
But Toppin gives you 20 sometimes. And Nesmith is giving you some buckets, being just a sort of a whirling dervish. And Turner, that three that Turner hit in the corner to sort of like dagger it, I was like, they're impressive, man. The Pacers are a team that I did not take seriously until these playoffs.
Well, and
the end of the season this season.
We didn't get to talk about it because that game, the last game, took place post our last show that we have recorded. But when I was reading all of the stuff about the way that ended, I could not believe the numbers when I saw them. So the Cavaliers ended the season, when you add it all up, 69.
They had the number 1 seed sewed up, though.
No, but they were 69-22. Okay, that's how many games they won. That's how many games they lost. Okay, they're 5-4 in the playoffs. Okay?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Understand? They're 5-4 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so they're 69-22. That was the final tabulation. They were 2-7 against Indiana. Okay. They were 36-5 at home this year. They were 0-5 against Indiana. So you add all that up, if you're following me. The Cavaliers were 67-15 versus anybody
Everybody
not
else.
named Indiana. I mean, it might have been a uniquely horrendous matchup.
And
You know what I mean? Like,
they lost 3 home games in this series.
crazy.
And that end of the second quarter with Halliburton hitting those threes, I mean, that was I had my jaw was on the floor. I just could not believe it. Those were deep pull-up threes, and he hit them and hit them and hit them. And they were down. I didn't expect Mitchell to play. When Mitchell was playing, remember, they jumped out to a lead.
Yep.
It just
Yep.
and the crowd's going crazy, and Mitchell's on the floor. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way Cleveland loses this game. And then to finish the second quarter, Halliburton does what he does, and I was like, oh, wow. Like,
yeah, I mean,
kudos to him.
What were they up? They were up, I think, 19, something
No,
like that.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was that much.
Blew a 19-point lead. They lost. That was, by the way, that's the first time the Cavaliers have lost consecutive home games all season. All season.
Are they fraudulent or were they injured?
Some of both. If we're doing the pie chart, I don't think they had, like, again, Donovan Mitchell showed up. So is it Evan Mobley was supposed to be the next guy?
I'd say, but Garland was hurt. I mean, Garland was out there, but he was playing hurt. It feels to me like, I don't know. I'm on the fences. I asked the question because I'm on the fence. Like, if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers or I'm a Cavs fan, you're going into this offseason, there's one part of your brain that says to yourself, look, we had
Did we lose because we were hurt?
Yeah, we were hurt. Like, we had
so.
Mobley out. We had Hunter out. We had Garland out. Garland's limping around in the last game. Like, it was just bad injury luck. There's no reason to make any dramatic changes to the roster. Now, let me continue. There's another part of my brain that's like, we've tried this 3 years in a row in the playoffs, and we got punked by the Knicks. We were hurt and we got beat by the Celtics, and we were hurt and we got beat by the Pacers. At some point, you say to yourself, are we going to run it back after running it back after running it back after, and then run it back again? Is that what we're doing?
They can't stay in front of people.
No perimeter defense.
No, it's too much pressure on Mobley and Allen to have to, like that. They're like, it is a little reminiscent of the old Don teams in Utah, where it was Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell and that group.
No, do you know what it reminds me of?
But you're not filtering it to Rudy Gobert anymore. And it's like because you juxtapose that versus the Indiana, who's got all these like two-way guys. Like Nembhard is in your face, and Nesmith is in your face, and Halliburton could get stops, and like I
don't. Nesmith, if Nesmith was covering me, I would just punch him in the face. I'm getting kicked out of this game. I don't know.
Mathurin, I mean, he's in your face. Like
I will say, do you know what it reminds me of? Garland and Mitchell. It reminds me of McCollum and Dame. It's like I can't criticize either of your games, and both of you are very valuable NBA basketball players. Right. But the two of you together create such a perimeter defensive problem that maybe you're not a good fit for each other. I love you both. I especially love you both on the offensive end of the floor, but you're just not enough defensively. You look at Clay and Steph when Clay was at his best. Clay was a defensive stopper, and you could cover Steph's defensive weaknesses in that way. And it really reminds me of McCollum and Lillard, where I was like, I love you too. I love you two together, but just like, for long-term success, especially in the playoffs and 7-game series, there's just not enough defensive perimeter power. That's how I feel about Garland and Mitchell.
Right. And then, of course, even the guys they bring off the bench, they didn't have anybody reliable, right? Because what happens sometimes is like, all right, do we have a guy that can get a stop? Oh, here we have Isaac Okoro. He can get us a stop. But then they're just going to leave him alone, wide open, and it's like, you've got to be able to be two-way, like Nembhard, like Mathurin, like Nesmith. Like, that's the one thing that the Pacers really do have. The other thing is the Pacers are so unique. We're watching these games all the time, and so many of them are turning into slugfest. Theirs is just you just have to sprint the whole damn game. You just sprint. And they're picking you up 50 feet away from the basket all the time.
It is.
Drain.
You look at the Cavs in the regular season, and God, man, Sam Merrill and Dean Wade and Ty Jerome and Max Strus, like they're deep. But when the lights are bright and the other team is planning for you, you're kind of like, we got a bunch of like 6.5s, and that looks great on a Tuesday night when you're playing the Bulls. Yeah. But like when you're in a 7-game series in the second round of the playoffs, those 6.5s disappear, and you saw Strus just disappeared in that game.
Here's the deal. Anytime we get to the playoffs, whatever your flaws are, they are exposed tenfold. Mm-hmm. They're exposed tenfold. That's the way it is. And you had that happen across the board with some of those guys. It was a tough deal for Max Strus sending out the group text to everybody. Yeah.
If you didn't see it, if you don't believe that don't show up to work today. It's like he literally didn't show up to work. He was 0 for 9 from the field.
0 for 9.
He had a couple dunks this postseason where I was like, damn, Strus.
I would take him out of the group text.
Start a new one. Well, you might take him out of the roster. You know what? I think it's time for the Cavs. I think they have to move on. They have to shake up the roster
now because of the money thing.
They're going to shake up the roster.
They got a raw deal with Mobley winning Defensive Player of the Year because now the price of the bricks has gone up. Yeah,
and listen, I know everyone loves Mobley. I get it. I don't love Mobley like that on offense. What's he great at on offense? What's he great at?
He's still young too.
What's he great at on offense?
He's still young.
What is his go-to?
He's still young.
What's his go-to? Does he shoot threes? Does he post up?
A little jump hook on the block.
I guess.
He can face up. His shot looks good.
I don't know. I'm just not as high on Mobley as my peers. That's all I'll say. And you start looking at like $54 million a year for Evan Mobley. I need to see more than like a once in a while jump hook.
Fair enough. So the Pacers are going to be sitting around waiting on the winner of the Celtics and the Knicks. And I listened to you and the Podfather, Bill Simmons. You were on his pod. Yeah. Bad break for you having to go on after the Knicks lost to Luke Cornett, but that's neither here nor there. As you guys were talking, I thought there was a sense of, when the Knicks end up winning, and I'm like, I am very surprised by this because I watched that Celtics game and was like, Jaylen Brown just had 17, 7, and 6 in the first half, and this team played a brand of basketball that was infinitely more aesthetically pleasing than any they have played. You extracted Jason Tatum, and all of a sudden they started playing actual basketball. Balls popping around everywhere. They got 27 assists. Swing, swing, swing. Here's another one. Oh, Derek White, bang, hit another one. I'm like, what is this? I thought it was just dribble the ball up, one pass maximum. Maybe somebody shoots a three. And by the way, Porzingis was still horrendous, and they ditched him, and Luke Cornett turned into Bill Russell. I got it, but I don't know, man. The Knicks have been down to this team now. I want to say it's 14 or more in the second half of all of these games.
Every game.
And this is the one, like, I thought they let the Celtics gain a lot of confidence with that one. I really did. I thought that the Celtics looked fantastic, and I got it. It's the all for one, one for all. I was certainly on the team of, bro, they ain't winning no 3 games in a row without Jason Tatum.
Well, I'm there. I don't think it's going to happen.
It may not. I will just tell you, watching that game and watching the way they played in that game without Jason Tatum made me feel like it's more likely than I gave it credit for. I thought they looked awesome. I did. I thought they looked awesome. In that
they
game.
did. I mean,
and the Knicks looked like shit, and Brunson was frustrated, and Hart's got his face busted up, and Towns was a mess. A mess. Like, that was, to me, that was your guy who just went out with an Achilles, come in there, go for the jugular. Like, we gotta bury these guys. And I thought not only did they give them life, I thought the Celtics looked great in the game. That was, I don't know.
I have some thoughts, especially since it's been like a day, because we record the pod like right after the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like we're doing tonight with the other game. It felt kind of like a boxer switching to southpaw in like the 5th round.
That's fair.
It was kind of like, whoa, like I've been prepping for this fight for 3 months. You know what I mean? I've got sparring partners to mirror your style, and now all of a sudden you're gonna switch to southpaw on me, and I'm just kind of not ready for it. It's gonna take, or like, you know, when a team just goes to zone in the 3rd quarter, it takes a couple possessions to adjust. And I felt like that was an important factor in the game, the sort of different style of play that the Celtics came with. I thought Derek White hitting those 4 threes in the first like 4 minutes of the game was also just put the Knicks on their heels. I thought Karl-Anthony Towns had one of the worst games that I've seen him play this postseason. It was disgusting. Those fouls were just disgusting. He had 0 assists. Part of the things I liked about him during the regular season was he's had these assist games. He'd have 7, he'd have 5, he'd have 4. He was sort of like a ball mover and a playmaker, but he's
almost
not doing
like
that
a Julius Randle.
Yes, or we had the toughness of DiVincenzo would help out too. And I've also looked at the Brunson fouls. The Towns fouls were awful. But like the Brunson fouls, if you isolate every single one, you can see the logic of them. You're like, fine, I guess on the replay that was a foul. But, you know, you watch enough NBA basketball, there's a foul on every shot attempt pretty much, like by the book. But when they're all bunched together in a tiny little stretch in the 3rd quarter, I'm not going conspiracy theory here. I'm just saying it was a really tough whistle for the guy who engineers all of the comebacks in the 3rd quarter when they're down. It was a really tough whistle.
He got very overly heliocentric too.
That's what they do.
I got it. But I mean,
to me, I thought it was just like back to back to back, isolated individually. Every one of those calls, it's hard to like. You can't really bird those calls because he did like touch them or whatever. But like back to back to back, in what's been a very physical playoffs, I thought that was a really tough whistle. And we're not going to win games.
Would you agree they need to bury them in 6?
No.
Oh, come on.
They can win 6 or 7. I think they're going to end up winning the series.
I would not want to give them that kind of life. If they turn around, I mean, look.
Would I prefer they win 6? Of course. But like when you say they have to win 6, you're trying to tell me that they can't beat a Jason Tatum-less Celtics in the same floor where they beat Jason Tatum Celtics game 1 and game 2?
I'll tell you this. Jason Kidd tried to tell the world a year ago, and everybody thought he was just trolling. He tried to tell everybody a year ago, Jaylen Brown's the best player on that team. You remember that? And then Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP.
The Jaylen Brown these playoffs was not the Jaylen Browns from the last playoffs. He had a great game, and hats off. But
looked like the best player on the floor.
Looked like a great game on the floor. Hats off, but like that's
maybe
one
you just
night.
needed Tatum out of the way.
First of all, Luke Cornett looked like the best player on the floor. Let's be honest.
Luke Cornett was.
That was a moment. If Bridges scores single figures and OG scores single figures, you're not going to win the game. And Towns plays whatever minutes he played because he's in foul trouble. There was a storm of terrible things that happened for the Knicks and great things that happened for the Celtics. I felt that was an outlier game. Very confident about 6. If it goes to 7, very confident about 7. They're going to play the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're gonna.
I agree. I mean, it would be a meltdown of all meltdowns. 13 teams ever have overcome 3-1. 13 teams ever.
Yeah, but every time Brunson's limping around or OG's grabbing his hamstring or Cat says he broke his hand, you know, things can happen like that. That happened to the Celtics with Tatum that can swing it. You know what I mean?
I know Vegas has not been necessarily on this, but I do find it interesting. It's a 2.5 point spread on Friday night. It's Knicks 2.5. So
that seems low.
It's not a lot.
That seems very low.
It's not a big number at all.
But like one thing worth mentioning, which is just again super reductive, is who's been healthy. Like what teams starting 5 have been healthy through the playoffs? Pacers, Wolves, Knicks, Nuggets.
Well, and you think about
Thunder.
These massive what ifs that we always do every year. The Golden State fans are going to sit around and go, "What if Curry wouldn't have gone out?" Steve Kerr did it last night. Chris Finch even did it last night. What if Damian Lillard doesn't tear his Achilles, right? Is it a different story for the Milwaukee Bucks? Is NBA history completely changed because of that injury? Jason Tatum, what if he doesn't tear his Achilles, right? They're probably losing that game.
They're still losing that game.
Would they have been able to come back? All the Cleveland guys, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, yeah you can go on and on. This has happened too.
Everyone's celebrating the Pacers and everyone's putting the Pacers in the finals, and God bless them, but they've been healthy. And so have the Knicks. The Knicks have been very healthy. They have. And I think, it's something not to be overlooked.
And it's even more important for a team like the Knicks to stay healthy because they play 5.5, 6 guys.
Well, we got Mitchell Robinson now.
No, I got it, but you lose one guy, and it has a much more profound effect.
If you put Deuce or Mitchell Robinson in the starting 5, I don't know what happens. Everybody plays 48. Like that's what I'll say on the whiteboard. Everyone's playing 48. Don't foul out, Karl-Anthony Towns.
So this pod is obviously going to drop on Friday morning. You feel good about it. You think they're going to be able to close it out.
I'm a pretty pessimistic fan. I feel very good about it.
I heard you say it was 900 to get into the last game.
Let me look at it now.
There ain't no telling.
Well, my wife is going out, so I got all 4 kids by myself, so I don't think I'll be at this one.
Are you serious?
Yes.
How can we not get a reschedule on that?
Reschedule the Knicks game?
The wife's out with the friends and you with the 4 kids.
Dog, we got a newborn.
You're done.
My wife is working so hard with this thing. If she wants a night out, she wants a night off from constantly breastfeeding and waking up every hour with a newborn. God bless her. Who am I to say you can't go out after she's working 23 hours a day? In 1 hour, I'll take the baby and take her for a walk.
I still tell my son to this day that I said, any source of ire, like if you ever look at me and you know that I'm mad at you, just know that you come by that honest. Because when you were 1 year old, this was our first kid. When you were 1 year old, my wife said, "Hey, I need you to look after him for I'm just going to go take a bath or whatever." Right. Yo, this dude.
Why are you acting like you climbed Mount Everest for taking care of your kid for an hour?
No. I know. She's just going to go take a bath. That's it. I'm talking lost his mind. Hey, I am talking to him like an adult. I'm saying to him, I'm like, dude, just be cool.
I was anything.
I'm begging you, please. I'm begging you, man. Please. Just I'm picking him up. I'm trying everything. Finally, I walk in there and she's like, "I can't take one bath." And I'm like, William, I've never been more mad at anybody than I was that baby. I'm like, all I need you to do is be cool. I was like, she hates me right now. All I needed was, please don't cry. Just don't cry while she's in the bath. Can you do that for me? It was.
Can't do it. But so Friday night, I've got all 4 kids. Game starts at 8. It's going to go till 11.
So will they help or they want nothing to do with the baby?
No, they'll help, but I'm more concerned about them. I'm trying to get them to bed.
I got
you. Know what I mean? So right now I'm looking at it, $735 gets you that view.
Ugh, that sucks.
And I wanted to go to the last game. I was just like, I can't justify the money. It's just too much. And those terrible seats, when you sit that far away, it's not that much fun.
You got to wait for the NBA finals.
The finals?
I mean, you're the one that thinks that the Pacers are quick work. So, and you're very confident that they're going to beat the Celtics. So what are we talking?
I'm very confident they beat the Celtics. Whether it's Friday or whether it's Monday, they're beating.
I want you to be happy. And the Celtics aren't winning the title anyway without Tatum, so I think that's what's best for basketball. I also think the whole Knicks Pacers, Halliburton is very Reggie Miller-esque, so it kind of brings all that back.
He's a
He'll
hateable player.
Play the role.
He's a hateable player.
He'll play the role. It is very Reggie Miller-esque.
Did you know that Tibbs was an assistant for the Knicks and Carlisle was an assistant for the Pacers when they played in the 90s? I didn't know that.
Wow. Huh.
There's just a lot. Before I did Bill's pod, I was like, oh, the Knicks are going to win. Let's get ready for Pacers-Knicks. So I did like the Pacers-Knicks history. Dude, a lot.
Oh no, and you might get Obi Toppin revenge.
Obi Toppin revenge. Reggie Miller doing the games, being in the Garden. Remember last year?
Oh, yeah.
And when I was booing him, spiking Reggie. It's just like a lot. And you're going to have Ewing will be there.
Take care of business first, though. I didn't like giving the Celtics that much life.
I honestly felt that once Derek White hit those threes to start the thing, and then Towns is fouling out, being an idiot, and I just felt like, and no one showed up. Who played well for the Knicks besides Mitchell Robinson from the free throw line?
I agree. Last thing before we get out of here. Do you think that either one provides us a better series in the West? I know your feelings on the game. I know you want the Thunder to win more so than anything so that you could come on Monday and you could say the Thunder beat the Nuggets.
Yeah.
That being said,
Nuggets and Wolves would be better because they played
them running it back because it was 7 last year.
Because like I just said about the Pacers and the Knicks, they played 3 straight years, 93, 94, 95. Like that builds animosity. That builds rivalry. That builds hatred between the fan bases and tension between the players. And and then their regular season games become a bigger deal.
And the Nuggets blew a game 7 literally last year.
Then they were up by whatever. So it's better for basketball, better for storylines, better for the NBA, better for the casual fan would be Nuggets and Wolves, because you want that repetitive disappointment or competition. You just want that. You want teams, and I want
seeing teams consistently meet up against each other.
And let's be honest, Anthony Edwards trading baskets with Jokic is much more exciting than Anthony Edwards trading a basket and free throws from SGA. It just is.
Why'd you throw in free throws?
Because you saw the game today. This dude,
Oh, you can't. You're.
Oh, I think Brunson is the top. Brunson is the top foul merchant. I think Brunson is the number one, and right below him is SGA. And I just felt like I didn't like that second quarter today. It just turned into a grift off. It turned into grift fest. It really was. It was McGriff the crime dog the whole second quarter.
Fair enough. Thank you to our producer Tucker and Jacoby. I'll talk to you next week.
Must be 21 and over in present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.